Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be the game. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So the game. Now, usually when you would be playing a game, as I've mentioned over the years, it would be like you would be playing Monopoly, or maybe a card game, or maybe you would be playing chess or checkers. Now, when you were in the relationship with the person who turned out to be toxic, you were playing a whole different game. The thing is, you did not know that you were in a game. You were a committed person in a relationship, devoted, and you thought that that relationship was going to carry you through the rest of your life, meaning maybe the person you're considering is your adult child. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your sibling, colleague, coworker, neighbor, whomever. But that game that they were having you participate in unwittingly or unknowingly was the game that almost took you down for the count. You see, that game was supposed to extinguish you. Now, I'm trying to not be graphic, and I am trying my best to sugarcoat this, but I want to let you know that when you're in these toxic, debilitating, challenging relationships with people, and you know who I'm talking about, this is a big game to them. It is not a game to you. It certainly is not a game to me. This is your life. That's why you need to understand, once you wrap your head around what these people are capable of, and again, you know who I'm talking about, you need to get away from them as far as you possibly can, as fast as you can. Because you see, you were, or perhaps you still are if you're still in the relationship, you are an unwilling participant in a game to that person. And that person was trying to keep you stuck and trapped in the narcissistic fog, committed to them. This is how you became the unpaid helper, the walking apology, the sounding board, the person who regulated them. You became the person who cooked, who cleaned, who raised the kids, who took care of the dog, the vets, the Amazon, the shopping, the vacations, the whole household, and more. You did all that to the elevation of that person and to the detriment of yourself. And you see, this is what that toxic person wanted you to do. They wanted you doing things for them that they didn't want to do themselves. And you must also remember that this person is two people. One person to the exterior, the general public, outdoors. And they were one person behind closed doors. But it doesn't stop and end there. They were thousands of different people. You just only saw certain people when you were with them. The narcissist plays to an audience. Many times it's an audience of one when it was just the two of you. Many times it's an audience of a handful when there's a barbecue going on, or maybe it's a holiday or something, if they're not blowing it up too early. Then there are bigger audiences they play to at events like a wedding or a christening or a celebration or a graduation or a photo op, etc. The narcissist always knows who the audience is. Now you may say, well, how is that possible, Andrew? How do they always know the audience? Well, I'll tell you how. That's why they do their homework and they figure out who is going to what event. And once they figure out the people that will be there, then they begin to move the chess pieces. Because why? That's right, because there's nothing but a game to these toxic people. Now flip it. Let's say they go and they don't know everyone who's attending. It's still simple. All they have to do is look around the room. Say it's a wedding. They look around the room or the venue and they see who they already know, and they'll get to them when they want to. They see the people they don't know, and they'll vet them also if they have time. And then they'll see the people that they need to know, but perhaps they don't know. You see, those are the people that are on top of the list. Because these people, i.e. the narcissist, they're always looking for the next new shiny object. They're always looking for the next person to fake who they are with. They're always looking for the next person to put a new mask on with. So as I mentioned earlier, this was nothing but a game to the narcissist, and they knew it. They had done what they had done to you many times before they met you. They did it with you, and if they're still breathing air, they're doing it again right now with other people at the same time. You must know that you weren't taught this in school, and you probably were raised a certain way by your family or whoever brought you up, and you were probably taught certain values or morals, or maybe you weren't given the best childhood, who knows? But the point is, you thought that most people thought the way you did because you were the white sheep or you were the black sheep. You were the target from when you were a little kid through your adolescence to the young adulthood, and here we are. Now you may say, why were you targeted? Why was it me? I don't get it. Like, what was different about me? Well, what was different about you, and what still is different about you, is that you are the beautiful, bright, shining light. You are me, I am you. You need to understand that people could see that way before you could figure it out yourself. So when you go through life as a little kid, high school, college, and then young adulthood, etc., and you believe that other people are like-minded with you, and you don't know that they're not, you see, that's when you're participating in a big game. It's a global game on the scale that I can't even begin to talk about right now. But having said that, what happened with you is the person that you entered the relationship with, or maybe you were born into the family, they were looking at you because they saw the way you laughed, they saw the way you cried, they saw the way you smiled, you carried yourself, and they saw that they could push you and keep on pushing you and pushing you and pushing you. And they were hoping, maybe it was your adult parent who was, or your parent who was the narcissist, or maybe both of them, or maybe they're both toxic, but they were pushing you, knowing or hoping you would never figure it out. And remember this also, the narcissist needs a receptacle. They need someone to be there to regulate them, to tolerate and to put up with their poor behavior. So again, if your parent was the toxic person, or maybe both of them were, well, they needed to pepper someone with abuse. Maybe they couldn't abuse somebody at work that day because they needed the job and they didn't get the promotion or pay raise. Well, they couldn't throw a fit in the 9-to-5 job, so maybe they came home and took it out on you. But you see, you weren't supposed to figure that out. You were probably taught to be quiet and to just deal with it, or to just look the other way, or that's just the way so-and-so is, meaning one of your parents, etc. There's so many different layers of the onion to peel back, but what I'll share with you is, once you've figured out what the person was that you're considering and what they did to you, meaning the narcissist or toxic, whatever you want to call them, and there are so many different avenues of toxicity, it doesn't have to be narcissism, but once you figured out that that person didn't think the way you think, they never have, they never will, and they kept on poking you or prodding you and asking you for things. Maybe they wanted money, maybe they wanted rides, maybe they just wanted your time or attention, maybe they wanted to steal your mindset, maybe they just wanted to plant seeds of doubt in your mind, saying that you would never amount to anything, you would never accomplish anything, you won't be a success. You see, verbal abuse is a huge part of toxicity on the planet. Once you understand that verbal abuse should not be allowed and you shouldn't be consuming it, then you don't allow it in your life any longer. And that's when you go no contact with these people, block them, etc. But it doesn't stop and end there, because unfortunately, narcissism is all over the planet. You're now realizing that, or you're getting it. And to the narcissist, yes, it is a game, because to the narcissist, their life is front row and center stage, and everybody else is just an extra or somebody who bought a ticket to their performance. There is no star in the life of the narcissist other than themselves. Now you may pause there and say, who thinks like that, Andrew? Well, I don't, and I'm sure you don't, but that's not what the toxic person thinks. You see, the toxic person, i.e. the narcissist, they believe that people, other people, and you were one of these people at a point, you were in their life to do things for them, to give them money, to be available, to put them back together, to regulate them, to be the sounding board, so you could consume all of their toxicity. Then they would feel good. Then when it was time for you to say something to them, they would say, have to go, or just got cut off, or running late, bye, click. Or maybe they just did hang up on you. Who knows what they did, but the point being is that these people know what they're doing, and they will continue to do it for the rest of their lives. They do not improve. And everybody, and I mean everybody, is susceptible to falling into the trap of the narcissistic relationship. Everybody. Even people who have healed are susceptible if they don't keep their cup full, if they don't maintain no contact, and if they don't really wrap their head around or pay attention to the red flags and their instincts and intuition. That's why you need to continue to come back and get your cup topped up. That's why you need to realize that as I am learning and becoming educated each and every minute of my life, and so are you, we are realizing and understanding so many different nuances about toxicity, about human behavior, and yes, about narcissism. All these things I'm mentioning to you, they add up to one thing, as I opened up the video with. A game to you was Monopoly, or maybe a sporting event or a card game, but that was a game, and it would start and it would finish. That's not how the narcissist sees it. They see it that once you're in their life and once they trap you in that zombie-like, trance-like state, the narcissistic fog, or once you're subservient to them, maybe you were raised by the parent who turned out to be toxic, that they own you. They do believe that. You need to understand that nobody, and I mean nobody, owns you. That's why you need to break the 4 ties from these people. The emotional tie, the financial tie, the physical tie, and certainly the spiritual tie. These ties must be broken in time, in your time. As you break those, you will get stronger. As you break those, you will see it was nothing but a game to that toxic person. As you break those, you will realize that you're stronger than you know. As you realize that you will understand that you should be grateful to be out of that game, out of the proximity of the toxicity, and away from these people. Because the game will always go on in the tiny little pea brain of the narcissist or a toxic person. It has to. There's no other way. That is why once you've healed, and you've healed properly, you've arrived at, or you will arrive at, the mountaintop, the pinnacle of indifference. And that's where I am standing waiting for you, lifting my arms down lower to help pick you up. And that's why and how I've helped so many other people get to where I am. There's no room for at the mountaintop or the pinnacle of indifference for toxicity. It doesn't work that way. One of the laws of the universe is once you've healed, you see the world through a brand new different set of eyes, and you're changed forever. You're galvanized. You now have boundaries. You can say no, the strongest word in the English language, and you know that there are many people out there that not only don't care for you or care about you, but they want to try and destroy your life. And yes, at the top of that list was the person you are considering. Now, having said that, to that person, it was just a game to them. What they were thinking was, how long could they keep you strung along? How many years would you stay married to them? How long would you continue to tolerate the poor behaviors? How long would your health stay out? How long would your finances be flowing? And how long would your mindset stay stuck in that trap? They did this as long as they possibly could. For some of us, we were in the relationship a few years. Others of us were in the relationship for 6, 7 years. Others 10 years, 20, 30, 50. It doesn't matter the length of the relationship that you were in, from my perspective. What matters is that you're out and you're healing, because whatever length of the relationship that you were a part of, the toxic relationship was, that's what it was. You can't change it. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it. What we need to do is take the lifelong learning lessons from that relationship. We need to wrap our heads around what toxicity is with the human race. We need to understand that many people out there don't care about us. Others are envious of us. Some are jealous. Some want to be us. And other people want to destroy our lives. And that is what the narcissist is in a nutshell. Now, having said that, whatever length of relationship, however much time you were in it, that's what you were in it. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It's a very famous adage, and it is completely true with you cracking the code on narcissism. If you were meant to figure it out earlier, you would have. You weren't. So you did when you did, just like I did. And there are many people who question themselves post-relationship, saying to themselves, I wish I knew this earlier. I wish I knew this 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago. I understand. My heart goes out to you. I get it. But again, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That means you were ready to get the message when you were ready. And unfortunately, just like myself, you had to have many hiccups, many hurdles, many roadblocks. You had to go through the dark night of the soul, perhaps. You had to lose weight or gain weight. You had to be isolated when you were in that relationship, and then you had to self-isolate when you were out of it. You had to wrap your head around what that was. Then one day you got the needle in a haystack and you cracked the code and you figured out, oh my goodness, this was a toxic relationship. This was maybe even a narcissistic relationship or worse. And when you realized that and you understood the definitions that are in the glossary on the narcissistic abusive cycle, and you educated yourself even further, then you realized A, that person never loved you. B, they don't love anybody. C, they don't care about you. D, they don't care about anybody. E, they looked at you as a part of the game that they were playing in this thing called life, and they manipulated you, tricked you, and trapped you, and did whatever they could to keep you stuck while they were advancing or stealing everything out from underneath you. Now, to pause right there, you may say, I cannot believe that that happened, but that's what happened. Well, it is what happened. It's what happened to me also. Having said that, you need to realize that you didn't know what you didn't know, and now you do know what people are capable of, which is now why you have to have boundaries. And you need to realize it was nothing but a game to the toxic narcissist. And again, you may say, well, why is it a game? Why do they do that? Because it makes them feel better. When they can steal someone's beautiful, bright, shining light, they can steal their potential. They can steal their moonshot. They can steal their purpose. They can steal their relationships, their health, their money, their hobbies, their network of friends, and everything about them. When they can do that, it makes them feel good. The narcissist loves negative supply or positive supply. And I can assure you they love negative supply better. So when they can take an abundant, beautiful, empathetic, kind, loving, stable person like you and have you trapped in that narcissistic fog, they are getting supply every minute of their lives. Until when? That's right, until they're not. And that's when you finally get the message, go no contact, etc. And that's when you figure out what the game was. I'm gonna say this one more time for the video. Life is not a game. Life is meant to be enjoyed, relished, cherished, honored, experienced. It's meant to have highs and lows, and you're meant to be tested here and there, and you're meant to learn an awful lot in this thing called life. If we knew when we were younger that we would encounter a narcissistic relationship, could we have been prepared better for it? Absolutely. Could we have avoided it? I don't think so, but we would have known the signs and we would have been wiser at a younger age. But we didn't know, because this is one of the secrets of the eons. Nobody wanted people to know about this, which is why now you are understanding that you really need to take this seriously, because your life is not a game. But to the narcissist, it was just one of many lives they tampered with, one of many lives they try to destroy, one of many lives they try to blow up and ruin. And that is why there are so many fallen soldiers post-narcissistic relationship that we will never know about, because they didn't make it out. You can read between the lines there. Having said that, yeah, I was almost one of them, but I made it. January 6, 2021 was the most challenging day of my entire existence, next to the discard and some other days. But I made it, and I'm here. And because I'm here, you're here. You're getting your cup full, you're getting the wisdom, you're applying the tools that are provided for you in the videos I create and in the community, in the comments sections on every video that's created, because you're understanding you are not alone, and that this was a game to the narcissist. And they would be toying with you like a cat with a mouse every single day, week, month, year, decade, until you finally got the message. So when your relationship ended, if it ended via discard or if you ended it yourself, either way, my heart goes out to you, but it ended and you were in it. That's why you're gonna have to heal. You will have to slow your life down. You will have to process things, learn the definitions. You'll have to wrap your head around what that person did, and none of it was good. It was all detrimental and damage. Sprinkled in there, did you have good times? Of course you did. Did the good times outweigh the negative times or the not so good times? Not even close. So when you wrap your head around that and you realize that you are just a person, you are just an object, you are a utensil or a tool or an appliance to be utilized whenever they wanted to use you, or a Ken doll or a Barbie doll. Then when they didn't want to play with you any longer, they put you back up on the shelf and they would go play with somebody else. Very simple, trite example, but it's real. It's what these people think. They think out of sight, out of mind. They think, what are you going to do for me today? They think me, 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 me. There is no we. There is nothing but toxicity within the veins, the aura, the pores of these people. And it's nothing but a big game. Who they can manipulate, who they can trap, who they can lie about, who they can smear, who they can steal their relationships from, who they can steal their money from, who they can steal their mindset and soul from. That's not you. As I mentioned a few moments ago, there are many people that didn't make it out. You read between the lines. Having said that, there are many people that stay stuck and trapped. They don't figure it out. And there are way more people in those first two categories or groups than there are in people such as yourself or myself, who were wise enough, fortunate enough, resilient enough, determined enough, and had enough fortitude to crack the code and figure it out. We are a small group of people, no matter what you think. You may say to yourself, well, no, narcissism is everywhere and everyone says they've healed and everything. I would take that with a big grain of salt if I were you. If you've been through the cycle, you know you've been through the cycle. If you've healed, you know you've healed. If you're healing, again, you know you're healing, because you don't want to go out and date. You don't want to go out. You're still ruminating, thinking about things. You're still wondering. You're still looking for answers. You can't focus at work the way you used to. You can't even trust people any longer. And I could go on and on and on. So then think about this, the ending of the relationship, not only with you, but with, let's say, a friend who was in a toxic relationship. Let's use the friend as an example. Maybe the friend had a spouse or a romantic interest for the last 10 years. And all of a sudden your friend, their spouse just up and left. After 10 years, gone, just like that. What do you think happened there? Well, I'll tell you. One of a few things happened. One, they found a new supply. Two, they just ripped the mask off. Three, they had to escape a relationship, meaning maybe your friend is the toxic one, but I doubt it, but one never knows. But no matter what happened, that relationship didn't end properly. Those two didn't sit down, have a cup of coffee and talk about it and figure out the path of separating or getting divorced or whatever it would be. You see, that's what the narcissist does, or that's what a toxic person does. It's all about me, 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 me. They care about only themselves. And when that mask gets too cumbersome or too heavy, or when the game is too easy for them to play any longer, they will discard people, or they will disappear, or they will ghost people. And they'll always try to leave that door open just a crack so they can kick it wide open at a later date if you haven't gone no contact, etc., which is why I suggest in so many videos that you should. Before I close the video, realize a few things. Your life is not a game. To the narcissist, yes, that relationship was a game. It was the thrill of a lifetime for them for that period of their life until they found a new supply or a new shiny object, and boom, there's a new game getting ready to start. Picture, if you will, a casino. You walk into a casino, and I hope you don't, but if you do, there are games everywhere. You can play this game, that game, this game. There are games everywhere, and there's no clock in a casino. You can't tell the time. When you're in the casino, you're looking around, and maybe you had a pocket full of money when you went in there. And by the way, you shouldn't be in casinos, but if you did go, you went in there, and after what you thought was an hour turned out to be 10 hours later, you look in your pocketbook or your purse or something, you have no money. There goes 10 hours, 12 hours. Now you're penniless, and you look around and you can't believe what just happened to you. Well, what just happened is you thought that hour in the casino was a pleasurable, enjoyable hour until you realized you had no money. And you couldn't tell the time because you were in the casino. Well, flip it. That's the narcissistic relationship in a nutshell right there. They stole everything from you. Time went by super quick. It's as if they were in and out in a moment, and boom, next thing you know, everything's gone, and you don't know what just happened. Maybe not the best example, maybe it's a good one. Point being is once you understand that to the narcissist, everything is a game. Playing the court systems, playing the child custody, playing the legal systems, hiding money, smearing people's names, telling untruths, doing everything they possibly can, driving wedges between people and their own children, wedges between people and their family members, wedges between people and anything that matters to them. It's all a game. It's a toxic, frightening, nasty, horrible game that they play. But again, these people will continue to do what they do until the global consciousness wakes up and no longer tolerates this poor behavior, which is why I create a video each and every day, because nobody, and I mean nobody, should be through the cycle. Nobody should have gone through this in the first place, because we didn't know what we didn't know. To us, life was a game. We thought everybody thought like we did. Now we realize they don't. And we realize that if we don't have boundaries, and if we don't say no, etc., and we don't take the lifelong learning lessons from the relationship, then we are susceptible to falling into these things again. But we won't, because many of us have reached or are arriving at the mountaintop of indifference. And that's where you're in a great spot. The view from up there is amazing. It's beautiful. And there are no games being played. It's nothing but honesty, truthfulness, abundance, empathy, kindness, like-mindedness, if I didn't say that, and it's a beautiful view from up there. So remember, the game was going on from the minute you met that toxic person until long afterwards they were gone or you removed yourself from the relationship. The game ended when you finally healed, when you finally didn't have to ruminate any longer, when you weren't making drive-bys to their house, when you weren't peeking on social media, and when you flat out didn't care about them at all, and when you realize that the less you know about them, the better off you are. That's when the game's over. That's when it's checkmate, you win, and you're out of that toxicity for the rest of your life. That's the video, everyone. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. Remember that. You are not alone. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Realize a few things before I close the video. Again, your life is not a game. Neither is mine. The narcissist or toxic people, they look at everything as a game because they need to zap people's energy, steal people's mindsets, and take whatever they possibly can from them. That will never change until this narcissism or toxicity is eradicated from the planet. Number 3, I will share with you is once you really understand what it is at its core, toxicity or narcissism, or how human behavior cannot benefit other people, meaning people just flat out are self-serving many times. When you wrap your head around that, that's when you really need to have a small footprint. Don't share information, don't overshare information with people, and understand that not everybody is who they appear to be, and not everybody thinks the way you think, and not everybody has your best interest at heart. And that's exactly what the narcissist did. They assimilated themselves with you, wearing a mask like a wolf in sheep's clothing, and they swooped in and insidiously crept in your life. Next thing you know, it was too late, and here we are. That's why you need to understand, to them, it was nothing but an opportunity. It was nothing but a game. It was nothing for them to take advantage of a person, which was you, and certainly was myself, who didn't have the wisdom, we didn't have the awareness, and we didn't have the education. But now we have all three. And this is a good thing. It's a superpower. It's a superpower on steroids once you wrap your head around what humanity is capable of. Not only the negative side, but the good side as well. Because you are on the good side. And either you've healed or you're healing. But either way, leave toxicity in the past. These people don't change. They only get worse over time. I love you all. God bless you. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Yeah.